All right. Who's our MC? Is it
So
EJ or is it Jill?
yeah, I guess it's me and or both of us. Jill, I'm happy to take turns if you'd like to. Up to
Um,
you.
Whatever is easiest. I think EJ, you can take it just to simplify it.
Sure. So I guess as MC, I will be directing people to do things. And the first thing I think we can do is we are doing demos. So I didn't have to pick an order before we got to this call. So whoever would like to volunteer, which pair to go first? Talk about your issues.
Related to Collab Lab.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well,
Yes.
sure, go ahead. Please feel free to share your screen. Sweet, I can see it.
So Eden, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to pull up the issue. So our issue this week was to create a form so that we can add items to the shopping list, and then people can mark the frequency in which they wanted to buy the item. So let me pull up. So we created a form using React Hook Forms, which is actually something that we both learned about during this session. And it's pretty cool. So we were able to, register, handle, submit, handle errors, and reset the form using this. And we're able to add items to the form, and then it goes into the Firestore database and into the user's token document, and it saves that token there, and then it adds the item to our array. Okay, and we're able to update the items here, and then once you submit an item, you get an alert that the item has been submitted, and then the form automatically resets. So here's the form here. We have you can enter the name of the item, and then you can select the frequency using the radio buttons that we put in there. And then we handled errors here and did error validation. So if you do not enter the name, then item name is required, pops up. And if we just picked a minimum length of 3 characters because we thought that seemed realistic. So if the item is not at least 3 characters, another alert pops up. And yeah, so then I can show you with the Firestore database. Let me share the screen. Okay. Okay, so can everyone see this screen with the React app? Okay.
Yep.
Great. So then let me pull this over here. So we get our token, and then if we add an item, so I'm just gonna put eggs, and I need them kind of soon, and then submit. Item has been submitted, and the form resets, and then we can see here, looks like here. Here's the new token added to the document list, and this is for the specific users. And then I have eggs there, which I want every 14 days. And
now that you have that list selected, can you add another one? We'll just watch it pop in real time.
Yes, we can. So I want to get some corn. And I'm going to say soon, and then we submit, and then we see it pop into that array. An item has been submitted.
Nice.
So that is for the form and adding an item. And I think Terry's going to take it away for the list.
So yeah, for our issue, we also had to display a user's list of items in the list. So if you switch over to list, you should see the eggs and corn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on. Okay. So then.
Yeah, and the list should also update in real time. So if you have two users sharing the same list, they'll always see the same updated list.
Nice, there it is.
Yeah, and to do that, we incorporated React's Firehooks or Firebase and used the Firestore document component to tie the user's token to the list. So if you can go back to the code, the way we approached it is we separated the list into two components. So the Firestore list component, it grabs the token and then ties it to the Firestore. And then we also have a presentational list component, which just takes the data from the Firestore and displays it.
Very cool. Great job. Can we see the code that's related to the list itself, please?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can we see the code related to the list so we can see how it was rendered?
Mm-hmm.
Eden, I don't know if it's on a different screen or something, but we can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I actually was trying to, that was on my other monitor. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. There it is. All right. Cool.
I thought I was going through here. I can show you here too.
Oh, yeah.
No worries. So, Terry, do you have any thoughts you want to share about interesting things that you learned while implementing this feature?
Yeah, initially when we were trying to like update the list in real time, we were doing it manually until we realized that we installed React's Firebase last week and we weren't really using it. So getting that set up, we ran into a few issues where we had trouble just connecting the Firebase to the actual component. And I think, yeah, EJ helped us out because I think the bug we ran into is that I was destructuring the objects wrong. And I was treating it as two arguments instead of like an object. And it was coming back undefined and it wasn't really loading the list at all.
A very tricky pattern to get used to when you see someone in documentation destructuring something and it looks like two different arguments or multiple arguments, and then everything goes wrong and you're like, wait, hold on, what's going on? What's going on here?
Yeah, just
Very
mistaking the brackets for parentheses cost us a few headaches.
Exactly. And then Eden, while we're looking at code, did you want to share anything interesting that you learned while implementing your feature?
Yeah, I think that it was really cool to see this React hook form in general because we were talking about doing controlled forms and we were going to kind of go about it in a very roundabout way. So it was really cool to see that that we could install React hook form in order to create such like a tight and controlled form here. And it was cool to see all of the different features of that as well, like the making it an accessible form and being able to reset, alert, etc. So.
That reminds me, could you please humor me and go back to the running app in your browser real quick?
Yes.
I just want to double check because in workshop we discussed that there was a label that was kind of broken. So if you click on the item name label, yay, great job.
Nice.
I can rest now. Good job, everyone.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
React hook form
show
is,
you- Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that's new to me. So I wonder if that's almost something we should, and for future teams, like suggest that they use that or something, because it looks like it's pretty helpful.
Yeah, and I was going to say I can also show you guys the error validation. So if nothing is submitted, that
Nice.
is required. If it's like minimum length is 3 characters. So
Very cool.
Very cool. Great job. It's a real
Thank
thing
you.
that does stuff now. Congratulations.
I know. It's exciting.
All right. Up next,
I'm just going to share my screen here.
go right ahead.
Okay. Let me know if you can't see my screen. But this week, Gabby and I worked on this issue where, as a user, we had to allow a user to generate a new token, save the token to local storage, and then redirect the user to the list view. So we started that off by creating this button here that I'm just going to show local storage as well, so you can see that it's actually working here. So once you click on Get Token, a token is generated and it takes us directly to the item list. So we implemented this by creating a button, and we put the button in our routes file right here, and we have sorry, give me 1 second. We have a function here that handles the on-click. So when that happens, we've created a function called generate list token, and we've actually put all of our token-related functions in the tokens.js file. So generate list token just allows us to set the token in local storage using the set item web API, and instead of passing the token in a state, we're just passing the get token function here because that's returning the random token as seen here. And then we also have a function here called get list token that allows us to return the value of whatever the token that we've generated here is. On click, we're generating that list token, and then we're also setting the token in state, which would then allow us to re-render the component as the state changes. And we are also, we've connected this was something we connected with Eden and Terry on merging to just set the token in Firebase to create a new document so that we could start a new grocery list there. And then lastly, we're just then redirecting the user to the list view. And I believe Gabby will now talk about the routing work that we did. Gabby, did you want to share your screen, or do you want me to just go ahead and point?
I just read off of yours.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we already had add item on the list. Were already added from the past week's issue. So we did go ahead and add a route path for button because we were running actually into an issue originally where when you manually typed in add item, it would redirect to list. And it was just simply because it didn't really have a place to go. So we added that route path there, and then we put in conditionals saying if there's a token, redirect to the list view, which will obviously go with that token. And then if you are already on list or add an item and you don't have a token, you will be redirected back to the root page where you can get a token. And then if, obviously if you already have a token and you're on one of those pages, you'll just stay where you are. And then, let's see, we were using history.push originally throughout, or to create the redirects, but we started realizing that, like what if that wasn't their history wasn't the location we wanted them to go to. So after we were looking a bit more into like the React router documentation, we realized that we could just do a redirect, which was much cleaner, simpler, and straightforward. And then each one we have the token passing through for it to read that there is or isn't a token and which token that would be. And then we changed the connection from straight list to Firestore list, which links up the list work that Eden and Terry were working on throughout their week. I think that might be everything.
Really like that pattern, actually. A list is just something that renders the items, and a Firestore list provides that information to it. That's pretty cool.
Very nicely done. Yes, I was going to ask if there's anything you wanted to highlight in the code, either of you, that you learned while working on this. Share with everyone else.
Well, I think just overall, I think both of us actually, we learned about use location, use history, and redirect, because we were, I guess, trying to play around, I guess, and figure out the best way to go about the redirection. And so we started with history, but then we realized, what if their history isn't what we want them to go to? It could not work right. So we went to use location, but use location forced us to keep the routing conditionals inside like list.js and at item.js. But with Terry mentioned it in the reviews, we actually didn't even need use location. So once we actually realized that, we were able to adjust the code and we were able to refactor everything so that all the routes went into routes as they should.
Very cool. Love a good refactor. Great job. Anyone else have any questions, comments?
I would say it's, oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Jill.
I was just going to say it's really cool how when you merged it at the beginning, we got to see different lists saved to different tokens. So it kind of highlights both of your work coming together. So it's evidence of a good merge. That was cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Congrats. Like I said, it's very cool. This is doing stuff. It's a real thing with moving parts. I'm super excited. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to talk about, kind of add to what Gabby said about what we learned too. When we first kind of started our issue, we spent a lot of time doing a lot of conditional rendering within the actual components itself. But then we learned to, thanks to the ad hoc workshop and to the code review feedback, we learned that it was easier to do it all within the routes. So it wasn't rendering and then kind of being hidden. And then also to keep the, going into tokens to kind of create these functions to return, just do these one-line returns, but it makes it cleaner overall once you go into the rest of the components. So you're not always repeating local storage dot get item and then the token and whatnot. Yeah,
and it reduces the chance for error too, because what the token is, what that that entry in local storage is called is it's in one place. They're right next to each other, so you know that they're going to be spelled correctly with the right capitalization, all that stuff. So yeah.
Yep, those strings will get you because it won't throw an error if it's not there. It just returns null. So I've been got by that before. Great job. This is so exciting. I'm just buzzing over here.
Nice work.
All right. So I apologize, Andrew. What's next on the agenda after our demos?
Yeah, it's we're doing a retrospective for the first time.
Yes,
So
that's right.
yeah, so I saw a bunch of cards. Does anybody need more time to add cards to the retro board? I'll post a link here in the Zoom chat. Has everybody had a chance to already do that, or? Yeah. Sorry, I should invert that. Does anybody need another couple of minutes to add anything? Looks like no. Okay, cool. I'll share my screen. And so retros are it's a great opportunity. I mean, they're used in software teams all over the place to just kind of help improve, how we do things. They're really common thing. Most teams do a retro every couple of weeks, like we're doing. In our case, we focus on appreciation. So just kind of like telling each other just things that we appreciate about people's contributions. Talk about what went well, and another way to think of that is things that we should keep doing. So if there are things that we're doing that are working for us, like highlighting those is helpful there. And then what could be improved. So out of that column, there's some great feedback in that column already that we should maybe pick out one or two things that we want to try to improve over the coming 2 weeks until we do the next retro. So again, super common pattern in software teams to do retros and to have sort of action items come out of them and then follow up later about whether those things got implemented. So what we'll do is we will go through each column. So, like Eden will say her card, and then I'll say mine, and we'll kind of go down that appreciations column, and then we'll move over to the what went well column, and then we'll move over to the what could be improved column. So we'll just take them in the order that the cards are in. So if you don't want to go in this order, you have time to just drag and drop these things into a different order. But Eden, if you don't mind going first with appreciations.
Yeah, so I put in there that it's just been great working with really patient and helpful team. And it's been a very helpful and open environment so far. And I feel like working with everyone I've worked with so far has been really, really open to sharing their knowledge, as well as just being very patient, and for us to be able to kind of work through these different issues as well as answer questions as need be. So I really appreciated that, because I think that that's not always a given working collaboratively with other people. So
yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just nice work these first 2 weeks. You're all Alex, your cat is amazing. I so appreciate just all the time and effort you're clearly putting into this. That's both developers and mentors on the team. Yeah, you're doing the thing, and yeah, it's just great to see. It's always warms my heart. Gabby. Oh, you're muted, Gabby.
Hi. Everyone is just very patient and helpful. Everyone, and we all work with like a team mentality. Like everyone's very happy to share what they know. Everyone's okay accepting help and also learning from their partner as well. It's like a lot of give and take. No one's afraid to admit when they don't know something, and we work well together to figure out what we don't know together.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Cool. Jill?
Yeah, a lot of what everyone has said so far, and I just wanted to highlight in particular, I thought I was really impressed with the code reviews that I saw, and just how much thought and effort went into looking at each other's code. That was really, really cool.
Nice. Alex?
Yeah, so I just I really appreciated the level of like communication and just the respect that everyone has for each other. Like we all have a lot of different things going on outside of the Collab lab, so it's nice that people are respectful of like the schedules and just like even the thoughts that that come up when we're working together. And I just wrote like no lone wolf / like 10x developer mentality here, where you're kind of like, you feel like you're obligated to do everything by yourself. Like as Gabby said, it's really like a team mentality that we all have here.
That's great. And Terry?
Yeah, pretty much what everyone has said so far. One thing that I'm amazed by is that everyone is so great with their time. I always feel like people are very punctual and they're open to meeting multiple times a day, like even if they're busy. And yeah, we always manage to finish and get our code reviews in a timely manner. So it's a good thing to have.
Nice. Miles, I noticed you didn't have a card in here. Was there anything you wanted to add?
I did, sorry. I was busy trying to get the issues up for later on.
No
I'm just really appreciative of being able to kind of take this week off because I had an interview that turned into 2, that turned into 3 this week. So it's going in a good direction, but I'm really grateful for being able to like say that I'm part of Collab Lab and have a team of people behind me and having experiences behind me, because without Collab Lab, I probably would not have half of the things I wanted to, like I got to talk about or got to share about learning to code. So that was a grateful thing. I'm also very appreciative that this week seems to have been awesome. I learned 2 new things, React hook forms. I've never used that. So I'm grateful I learned that this week.
Nice. Very cool. All right. So what went well? Eden.
Yeah, I put that merging has been really successful and fluid so far, and coordinating times to meet. You know, I think as previously said, I think it hasn't been really difficult to coordinate time to meet with people, and people have been very flexible about that in spite of their busy schedule. So that's been cool. And merging has gone really well. It's been cool to meet up with everyone on the team and just kind of sit down and merge everything together and work through any issues that we may have.
That's great. Yeah, so yeah, from my perspective, I mean, you're doing the thing and the app's off to a really good start. So that's like the bottom line. But sounds like your PRs and code reviews have been really nicely done. And then today, just the demos were just really great. The way that y'all sort of split it up, sort of shared the spotlight, and then you're able to kind of like walk through the actual feature, you know, in the app, but then also just like really good descriptions of sort of the code that is behind the features. So yeah, really, really impressed with all that. Good stuff. Gabby. You are muted again.
I was glad how we were able to work together to merge the PRs and everything, especially like this, well, yesterday. We actually had to like add some new code in there so that we could successfully merge their Firestore with our generated tokens. So we actually had to, you know, work together real quick to figure out what we have to add or adjust to get that to work correctly. And it went very smoothly.
That's great. And since then, all 4 of you were on that call, is that right? So it's kind of like a mob programming kind of thing.
Yep.
That's cool. Nice. Jill?
Yeah, I'll tag on to that because it's really cool how well the merging has gone so far. Haven't really seen any evidence of like crazy merge conflicts gone awry or anything. And I think that's a big testament to like this mob programming style that and you're all coming together to merge together, and that's pretty cool.
Nice. Alex?
Mine also has to do with how well the merging is going, and just as Gabby and Eden mentioned earlier about you know, connecting the issues as we merge and making sure that they work well with each other. And I also felt that the code reviews this week especially have been like really helpful and thorough, and have been, I guess they've been super helpful in providing like feedback or a different direction on how to approach the issue.
Nice. And Terry?
Yeah, like I just wanted to echo how successful the merge was yesterday, and how we managed to do it all within a free Zoom meeting time limit. So that was great. And to add to that, also the code reviews this week. I think it was EJ who gently nudged us to be more descriptive and like complimentary with our code reviews. And I was a little guilty of being too timid with my code reviews in the past. So it definitely made me want to step up and help my fellow teammates a lot more.
Awesome, that's great. Merges shouldn't be quite so hairy and complicated in the future. Like most of the sort of structure of the app is in place, and you'll be working in different parts of it from now on. So hopefully merges aren't such a big deal, but it's really cool how you all came together and figured that out together. I realized, EJ, I didn't ask you if you wanted to add anything in the last column, because I don't think you had a card there.
I didn't want to be duplicative because I agreed with a lot of what was there, but I just wanted to share with everyone that I really appreciate all your grace and patience while I learned to be a mentor here, because this is my first time really working with a cohort, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you all. But yeah, a lot of what's here I really agree with, so thank you.
Nice. And anything, I think Miles and EJ both, is there anything either of you want to add to what went well?
I just want to echo how cool it was seeing the PRs that came out this week, especially just it's getting more and more iterative each time, more and more detailed and helpful, and keep on that path, and we'll have some really good software reviews going on.
Cool.
Same. I did get to see the merge on Slack, which I thought this week was really cool because it broke it down into a list. I've never seen that before. I'd never seen that kind of list. So I was like, what is this? Out and about doing something. I think I was helping my mom, and my phone went off, and I was just like, what? So it was really cool to stop in my daily life and learn something new. So thank you guys for that, because I'm always a big fan of new things, new experiences. So seeing that list that broken out like that was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess I want to say that y'all are doing things that I would love to see in engineers that I hire, and it's already happening, and you're at the beginning of your careers, and if you keep doing things like this, it's going to get better and better. So I'm really excited for y'all.
That's really cool. And then my favorite column, what could be improved? So at Zapier, where I work, one of our company values is to grow through feedback. So we love getting this kind of feedback of what can we do better? And so hopefully all of you will share in that. There's some really good suggestions in here. So Ian, you want to kick us off for that one?
Yeah, so what I put in there was being able to use those Slack threads when we're working with groups to kind of share resources and our thoughts and communicate on there and have more transparency. Because I think that I don't know if I would use the word intimidating, but it's easy to go into the messages and just kind of communicate directly with whoever you're working with. So I think that that's something for sure that I'm trying to work on, and I think probably can be improved overall.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the hardest things about working, especially remotely like this, is getting used to working transparently, working in the open. So maybe when we get to, because I think at least one other person had something about this too. When we get through this column, then maybe we could spend a minute just kind of talking about how to use those threads effectively, or just kind of using Slack to just kind of be more transparent about the work. All right, Gabby. I was waiting to see. Anyway.
It was quick to tell me I was muted this time. Mine is just a bit more, I like to have a bit more advanced notice on our scheduled meetings. This one we have, it's set right now. It's just every Sunday at 4, which is great. But I have a slightly odd work schedule with a 2 to 10 kind of deal. So when I have to, I can squeeze in the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock meetings and stuff because work's not that demanding. But I usually kind of need a heads up on that just so I know to adjust what I'm doing to fit them in. So it's just when it's a few hours before the actual meeting and it's hey, does this time work for everybody? and I have to kind of like adjust really quick. So that would be nice to just get like a little more advanced notice on those. And then yeah, same thing as everybody with the clarification for the pair threads, just because it's easy to stay inside the personal messages. So I guess it's just like what should we be putting in there? Like, is it as simple as hi, or should it just be like, you know, the Google links that we are sharing with each other?
Yeah,
we'll
talk about that at the end. That's really, it's a really good question. Jill.
Yeah, for mine, I think just specifically, I think with because we scheduled the office hours, it would just be good to, you know, like post that in the team channel just to be super clear, so there aren't any questions about like when it's happening. And then I also saw in one of the threads, like all of the time zones were posted. And I thought that was a really nice idea because I've just been doing Pacific time, but we're not all in Pacific time. So that's just considerate and inclusive of everybody. So I'll keep that in mind.
That's a good one. Could we pin that message to the channel maybe so it's easy to find?
The schedule?
The one on with the time zones that people are in?
Oh, I think it was just like in the thread where you were like scheduling your merging meeting. Someone just had a thing with each of the time zones.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if there's like a message that has each person's time zone, like one message that we could pin to the channel, and then you could always just refer back to it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Pin that.
Cool. Alex.
Just to echo what everyone else has said, just knowledge sharing through Slack and clarification on how to use the threads more effectively.
Okay, cool. Terry? Looks like it's similar.
Yeah, same thing. I was a little unsure of how to use the threads since most of our communication was through like Zoom meetings, and we would talk to our pair there. But I guess summarizing the progress we made and then talking about any roadblocks we ran into in the thread would be helpful for the other team.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a really great use of them. You know, so if it's, you know, especially like if say you're going, like maybe you get together in pair and decide to sort of divide and conquer and you go off and do some research, you know, sharing that stuff back to the thread makes sense so that the other person gets caught up. But then also when you do pair synchronously, sort of like a readout of like, what was the result? Like we looked into this, we found out this thing, you know, the next step we think is this, we're going to meet on Tuesday. Like, you know, like this kind of like, and it is kind of weird. Like when I went to Zapier, like we have a huge emphasis on just working in the open, and it took me a while to get used to it. I mean, it took me a few months to really, really get comfortable with it. But then once you do, you realize like, no one's like scrutinizing everything you say. It's, but what it does is it allows other people who want to kind of catch up and see where you're at to like be able to do that without sort of bugging you and asking you to get on a call and do that, right? So, yeah, it's I think those using those threads just kind of, I mean, if you think you're oversharing, you're probably not oversharing. You know what I mean? Like it's like you really, just like say as much as you can in Slack, and it's either going to be helpful to other people, or it's going to be helpful to you a little while later to come back and like, oh, what did I say again? What was the decision we made? Like all those kinds of things. It looks like EJ, it looks like you had a couple cards here.
Yep, I was actually on time for this one. So the first one is that we should make sure to actually close our issues after we've merged the PRs that are related to them, so that we don't have stale things hanging around. And if y'all would like some help figuring out how to automate that, in fact, there's actually some pretty cool features in GitHub where you can tell GitHub to relate certain issues or certain commits to PRs or certain PRs to the issues, so that you can automatically merge and then close that issue when that relevant code is in production. And the second thing is that we as mentors should summarize the things that are discussed in workshops and or in office hours, which is what I meant to say, so that we have that information available to the team later in case someone had to miss or we want to recall that discussion later on.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea. I did my office hours for TCL 15 last week, and I did not do that. I wish I had. I wonder, how do people feel about recording the office hour meetings? Would that be helpful? And that way, if somebody can't be there, they could at least catch up that way.
I'm neutral on the idea, but I still think that a text-based summary is better for accessibility because it's easier to parse. There are a lot of things that might happen in an office hour session that are great for social experiences, but not necessarily useful for looking at information later. It could be hard to find the information that you're looking for going back into a long video.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's me.
Miles, yeah, cool, thanks. Miles, do you have anything?
I'm more for the written word, just because if I see a video, I'm gonna fast forward through the video and probably miss it. And if I see a video, I know I'm gonna wanna do 20 things while I watch the video. So definitely more for just, sharing more. I think one thing that I remember my cohort was big on is we shared everything that we researched. You would see you would see articles popping up every 2 seconds. And I think that was one really cool aspect because I'm finding out in the working world, not everybody Googles the same. And so you and I could Google Google the same issue, but because we Google differently, we'll come up with 2 different articles that might actually say the same thing. And I remember that being a big deal with me and one of the other girls in my cohort, who we would always see who would Google what article. And that always helped. And it even looking back on cohort 6, if I look back at that thread, I just remember there being a lot of MDN articles and, how did we solve this, which was really cool. So I think that's something I wish I kind of see more here. So I might push you guys push you all to do that this week since office hours are on me this week.
Nice.
I was going to say one thing we could do to sort of standardize that would be to make a pinned thread into which we dump all our research, unless that might get too busy, in which case that's totally fine too. But I would love to see some way that encourages us to just share research more at all, but it would be even better if we could organize it then as well.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that idea. And I think there's a lot of value too to say, here's an article that took us down the wrong track. If you run into something where it's this is not the way to do it, or we tried this and for these reasons it didn't work, that's actually really good information for the next person who comes along, doesn't waste their time trying to go down that same road,
On that note, I think that it would be great when we share articles to make sure that we write about what's in the article a little bit to summarize so that someone who discovers it later, or even ourselves, because we might forget what the context was for sharing an article, will know what the point was and what can be found in there.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right. Well, I feel like this was really fruitful. And do we have a better, maybe a little bit kind of shared understanding how to use the pairing threads and just kind of working in the open in general? Does that people feel better about that? Yeah. All right.
Actually,
yeah.
I think it just kind of went back to the original question, I think. So with what we just kind of established with we should all just share everything we, are Googling and whatnot, and kind of a way, I guess, for creating our own learning together channel, but in TCL 12, I guess. So with that stuff isn't going to go into the pair threads anymore. I guess there's no reason to put highs in the pair thread. So
well, I think it's fair to almost use the pairing threads as your this is where you and your pair person are getting kind of your work done, So hey Terry, look at this article. I found this thing in here that might help us with this piece of what we're trying to do. That could go in the pairing thread. If it's just oh, here's this cool thing about Flexbox or something, that might go in the main channel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I almost see it in lieu of DMing each other. If you've been doing that, just if you have it all in the thread, that keeps it all out there, as opposed to only there for the 2 of you to see it, if that makes sense.
Okay. I guess I think it's just because majority of the time we're usually just kind of hi, here's our Zoom link, and then we're on Zoom the rest of the time with 1 or 2 articles that we send.
Well, here's an idea. Like if you're on that Zoom call together and maybe you're sharing links in the Zoom chat, put those in the pairing thread instead so that they're more persistent. Like once you close the Zoom chat or the Zoom room, they all go away, right? So I don't know if you're sending links back and forth while you're Zooming.
You can even do a retro on your sessions. So if you were prepared to discuss a certain thing, just write a retro into the channel, the thread to say, hey, you know, Alex and I just met, we discussed X, Y, and Z. Here are some relevant articles that touch on X, Y, and Z, that kind of stuff. Retros.
Okay.
It is more work, but the benefit of that is that when you're looking for something in 6 weeks, because we all do it, you'll find what you were looking for, and it didn't get lost to the Zoom ether.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, maybe just experiment with it over the next couple of weeks. And we'll see, maybe next retro, we can come back to the topic and see if anybody made any changes that they felt like kind of helped them.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, that's it for retro. Thank you all for contributing. Great ideas.
And I guess that makes it me, which is the issues. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. I just get to go back to being Zoom God for a second. All right. Did it do the thing? Is it sharing the screen? Can you all see that?
Yep.
Cool. Yep. All right, so this week we are on issues 5 and 6. So issue 5, as a user, I want to join an existing shopping list so I can share a shopping list with another person. Tokens can be shared with other users to allow them to co-manage a given list. Joining an existing list consists of the following. User enters an existing token, save the token to local storage, show the user the existing list. The AC is when a user does not already have a token in local storage. On the onboarding or home screen, a simple form is displayed that allows the user to enter a token. Entering the token and hitting submit saves the token to local storage, effectively giving them joint control of the list. On submit, show an error if the token does not exist. And if they get an error message, allow them to try again or create a new list. All right, so that's issue number 5. Issue number 6 is, as a user, I want to be alerted when I'm entering an item that is the same as something already on my list so I can avoid duplicate items. AC shows an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that has the exact same name as an existing item. Shows an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that has the same name as an existing item where capitalization has been normalized and punctuation has been removed. And the user's original input should be what gets saved in the database. So, what are the teams for this week? That's what I forgot to pull up. I'm gonna say what it should be: Terry and Gabrielle, correct? And then Eden and Alex. Did I get that right this week? Or no?
I don't have it on the project. Let's see.
Oh,
yeah,
see,
that's right. Terry and Alex, Eden and Gab. Yep.
Aha, cool. My brain is on fire this week, you guys. It's a good week for my brain. Okay, so who would like issue number 5? On this one, the welcome home screen will be feature complete as reflected on the wireframe.
Yeah, if you want to pull the wireframe up. Because the wireframe was kind of confusing last week because it had more stuff than you needed to work on, but as of this week, the wireframe is what you should have implemented. So
cool. Here it is. All right, so that's what it should look like roughly. Wait, where's my other screen? And then this second one, back up. I scrolled too hard, now my screen is going funny. Give me a second. There we go. All right, so that's what it's supposed to look like. And I guess now we're supposed to break it up. So which team would like which issue? And Gabby?
Yeah, I mean, we can take that one if Eden wants to.
Number 5?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Cool, cool. All right, and then number 6 goes to Terry and Alex. So there's my pen. You know I missed something on this bit. There we go. And office hours. That's the other thing we're supposed to schedule. Office hours. Any preference for times? My schedule this week is pretty light. Fingers crossed. But I'm gonna say like Tuesday is a really good day for me. Oh, wait, back it up. Looking at the schedule. Yeah, Tuesday is a really good day for me. Wednesday is also pretty good. I just kind of want to get it in the earlier in the week, so in case we need time to go over stuff, we might, since I have extra time this week, we can schedule another one. I'm free all day also on both of them, so I don't have anything to do. So let me know when works for you. We can do that in Slack if you'd like, or you can schedule it now.
Is there a day, Tuesday or Wednesday, would either of those work better for people?
I don't have a preference, but in terms of timing, preferably after 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, cool. Yes. I can do mornings but I would prefer a morning if it was going to be on a Wednesday. So 5 p.m. so that would be like 2 p.m.
Yeah, I think that's 2 p.m.
Perfect. Yes, after 2, my time is perfect. After 2, like PST, PDT, whichever one it is perfect for me. So Tuesday or Wednesday? Either one, or just both? Neither? Both? Both?
Probably Tuesday, I guess. Based on the past 2 weeks, it seems like most of us had majority of it done by Tuesday, and our questions kicked in at that point.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna say about Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. I'm gonna rope off like that time, and then Wednesday, Terry and Eden, does that work? Do you have a time that works for you, or are we just gonna do both of them at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's okay to have everybody come at the same time. It can also just be an hour, I think. That's what the other teams have been doing.
Oh, I know. I just want to give an extra hour just in case, because
right.
I got to prep
Cool.
myself. I got to get myself mentally ready. I'm learning I also got to do that for myself, or else I come crashing into things last minute like, what's going on, guys? So,
okay.
Cool. So I will set that for Tuesday at 2. We'll call that.
Nice. Did anybody have questions about the stories for this week? Are you happy to look into it and come up with questions in Slack or office hours?
There was one question actually we kind of considered when we were merging yesterday. Is it possible, like with all these there's a lot of random token options, but is it possible that they could repeat and mess up each other?
It's possible, statistically possible, yes. I think there's 10,000 words or something. So the chances of getting the same 3 words in the same order is small. I don't know. I'm not a math person really, so okay. But it's probably really, really small. So yeah, technically it is possible. But all that would do is give you access to someone else's lists, probably.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, if we were building this for millions of users, we would go about it differently.
Oddly enough, I use Instacart and I actually found my user token through Instacart.
Oh,
yeah? When I found it, I was like, oh my God, it's real. I'm so shocked. It's like, I know exactly what that is.
Nice. Cool. So looks like Gabby and Eden, did you assign yourselves to your issue? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I just assigned it
Nice.
to them.
Cool. So Terry and Alex, maybe you can assign yourselves to number 6, and then drag them into progress to the in progress column when you start working on it. Nice. All right. I think that's everything, right?
I do believe so. All right, everybody. And call it a day. I'm going to stop recording now.